Salvis Search for the Universe. Chapter 11, Part 2. Abram fingered the latch. The night air was wet. Beads of dew clung to the fibers of his woolen cloak. He pulled the hood over his face. It was a nondescript location, same as any other. It was well maintained, but not without imperfections. It sat in a part of the city that was neither good nor bad. There was no reason to suspect it of anything. Nevertheless, he stepped inside. It was dim, lit by a few candles. 4 people sat at a table, coin and dice rolling in the center. 4 sets of heads turned to look at him. They seemed more annoyed at interruption than the trespassing. Innocent, indignant expressions flashed across their faces. He cut straight to the point. I'm looking for a man called Kelvin Fourfingers, he stammered nervously. Their gazes hardened, cold as Arctic ice. They were all wide and thick, or tall and sweltry slim, but all of them dwarfed him by feet. He felt like a shrew in clouder, and they did not seem to be in a playful mood. I've come to buy some information. I'll make it worth your while. Several golds if you will have what I'm looking for. His knees knocked together. As if tasting his fear, the largest man rose from his seat with a wicked grin and cleared the distance in moments, staring him into the ground. I got a better idea. How about we kill you, steal your stuff, then dump your body in the alley for the rats to eat? He looked back for approval. The dice rattled against the table. One cried out as a hawk-faced man scooped up the coins to his side. The brute turned back, his grin widening as he gripped the sword and slipped it from the scabbard. Please step back, sir. He backed away, craning his neck as the man overpowered him with his presence alone. Sir, please put away the sword. I'm only looking for information. There's no need for violence. Sir, please. The tough stared him down, waved his sword, made a show of it. He was the predator, and Abram was the prey, and he loved toying with his prey. He cocked his arm back and thrust it for a stab. Sir! Abram cried. Their bodies thudded together. Drip, drip. Blood splattered onto the floor. The hulking man stumbled back, clutching his chest in disbelief. He stared at the red stain, then to Abram. Who? Was all he could say before he collapsed, his heart no longer beating. 3 seconds. It always took about 3 seconds to die after your heart had been pierced. A stiletto dagger, wet with blood, gleamed in Abram's hands. It was small, but effective. He kept the tip blunt. It was a trick of his. Keep it too sharp, and it might get stuck in the ribs when you try to slip it into the heart. It had been a long time. All three jumped from their seats in shock, chairs clattering behind them as they slammed the table in rage. The mouth of a man stood over the corpse, hands quivering. People were always shocked to find someone as timid as him had a backbone, and he was timid, but fear never stopped him from thinking and acting rationally. Not even once. I didn't want to do it. I'm truly sorry about your friend. I do hope this hasn't soured our negotiations. I'd be happy to pay you a gold turnum each as an apology. Two of them stared, growling as if to crush their teeth into diamonds. But the hawk-faced man stopped them. He was tall, closer to 7 feet than he was 6. Are you Kevin Fourfingers? That's piss. He sniffed. What I want to know is why someone I've never heard of knows that name and is sniffing around here, asking for it. Oh. He chuckled nervously. You know, I just did some asking around. No one was laughing. The atmosphere grew stagnant. I truly am sorry about your friend down there. Hated him anyways. Always cheated at cards and thought we never noticed. Trade his head for good gold any day. He sat back, crossing his legs, and leaned back. Now, could you give me one good reason I shouldn't walk over there and kill you right now? Surely you don't expect me to fall for the same trick that did in old Nelson? No, sir. Your reputation precedes you. I'm certain you could kill me very easily. Abram smiled as best as he could. Calvin quipped an eyebrow. However, I have heard you possess the heart of a businessman. He reached into his cloak and produced 5 gold coins. Of course, this is not everything I can offer. If it was, truly there would be no reason for you to spare me. He let out another nervous laugh. Calvin cut him with a shrewd glare and sniffed derisively. He crossed his legs the other way. You are an outsider. You have no one to vouch for you. Why would I do business with you? Frankly, Calvin, sir, it's because I've heard you will do anything for money. Abram said, sweat rolling down his face. Calvin burst out laughing and leaned forwards, eyes wild. Right. You are right. Anything. I'll do anything for money. Even make a deal with an old spy from that bastard, Lord Farisles. Cold lightning shot through his body. All his plans, all his conniving. There was nothing he didn't account for. He left as little to luck as possible, and He was always 5 steps ahead. How long has it been since someone caught him out?
You look poleaxed,
He roared with laughter. His companions joined in as well.
You want to talk business? Let's talk business. Just what is it you want to know? Depending on what you ask, I might even answer it.
He grinned. Abram told him. Kelvin fell silent, simply staring at him for long moments.
Some dangerous people you're after.
He clapped his hands and cackled.
I see it. That was White Eyes that took down the castle. And now you're after him.
Abram cringed. It pained him to give out so much information to not only a criminal, but perhaps the most heinous criminal to infest this city. But he had no choice.
Certainly not. I'm simply looking to hire this White Eyes you speak of. I'm not with Castle Fairhouse, I assure you. And I'm the fucking Fairy of Wellstay. Nice to meet you.
He waved his hands. The 2 toughs stepped across the room and restrained Abram without a fight.
Apparently you think you're the only one who can ask around and put 2 and 2 together. But let's play it your way.
He stuck his dagger into the table and played with its balance.
The most important part of any deal is trust. What's stopping you from selling me out the moment you step out of here? What's stopping me from telling you sweet little lies and stripping you of all your worth? Not much, my friend. Not much. I never would dream of such a thing.
He would. In fact, if everything had gone to plan, he wouldn't have lost more than 5 gold coins as an upfront payment, and he would have caught these scoundrels when they were trying to collect the rest. Unfortunately, this man was far more formidable than he had anticipated. He was the worst kind of scoundrel. The kind that was smart enough and skilled enough to make it in the real world, but through some perverted thrill, actually chose to be a criminal.
Though, if you chose to attack my hideout and torture the information out of me, instead of walking here like a hen in a fox house, it would have been quite problematic indeed. I suppose that can be the start of our relationship.
That was what he wanted to do, but all his instincts told him that this man wouldn't crack under any kind of torture. And what then? Uprooting this den would send every criminal scattering, and just like that, his leads would dry up.
Here's something as thanks.
He flicked his neck. The 2 dropped Abrams to the floor and returned to the table, but not before fleecing him of all his coins. He flipped them in the air and admired the gleaming gold.
The group has no name. Anyone inside already knows what they need to know, and anyone outside doesn't need to know it. Best bunch of assassins, spies and agents you'll find on this continent. Though I'm sure you knew that already. You're after good shit, ain't you? And that's going to cost you more than this, my friend.
Sorry, but that's all I've got on me. He laughed. He knew what was coming next. Letting him go was too much risk. He would propose something that Abram could give him right here and right now. Information. Insider information. Not only that, he would need to promise heaps and heaps of information in the future. If he gave up everything on his table, he would simply be killed before he left. If he promised to leak information in the future, Kelvin would be too suspicious of betrayal. He swallowed. Catch the lies and send back your own. Expose the least and gain the most. It was a true battle of wits, and if his luck was with him, he might even make it out of this alive. He hoped his years had not caught up with him just yet.